Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. This week has been so interesting for me because there have been so many challenges that have come up this week that have really tested my patience, tested my faith, and this Discover Your Passion live training is one of those things. I feel like I've had so many things come up that devil is trying to tell me that I shouldn't be communicating what's been on my heart. And so I just felt like it was so important to do it today. And if you're listening to this, and if you're in here in this training right now, this message is meant for you. And I firmly believe that. Everyone who has signed up for the webinar and everyone who's here, they were selected to be the ones to hear this message, because it clearly has not been an easy thing for me to get prepared for it. And so I'm super, super excited to share everything that I've put together for you guys tonight. I'm not going to do any slides today, kind of a little bit different than some of the ones I've done in the past. I feel like it's important for you guys to take some notes, and then you can go back and listen to the recording if you'd like. And then after the call is over, I will email you out some of the questions that we go over tonight so that you have them to reflect on later, maybe in your quiet time or your prayer time or meditation time, so that you can come to these answers that are really important for you to try to figure out what your passion and your purpose and your calling is. So the topics that we are going to, at the end of the call, I'm going to give away one free session of my coaching services. And then for anyone else, we're going to do $500 off of my 90-day private package through the end of day tomorrow. So you have to act quickly on that. But I'm going to go through what we're going to talk about tonight. So the first thing is there's about 6 really important things that you have to go over and you have to ask yourself in regards to figuring out what that passion and that purpose is. The first is you have to light up that child that is living inside of you. There is a little girl living inside of you that is just screaming to get out. And so we're going to talk about how to unleash her. The second thing is that you need to unlock your dreams. There are things and thoughts and feelings and ideas living inside of you that you have stuffed down super far. And so we are going to talk about what some of those questions and some of those actions that you can take today, tonight, this week to really unlock what those dreams are. The third thing that we're going to talk about is the new doors and the new adventures and the new opportunities that are awaiting you to be able to go out and really live in purpose every single day and figure out what that is. And then we're also going to cover your legacy. So what are you going to leave your kids and your grandkids behind with? Your society, the people that are important to you. What legacy are you ready to create? And so that you can really step into your path and your purpose that has been defined for you. And then we're also going to talk about what the world needs. And the world needs is you. They need your light, your love, your calling, your strengths, to really impact this world. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then lastly, I'm going to stretch you out of your comfort zone. You are going to leave this call on fire and ready to just jump out of that comfort zone like you've never, ever felt before. So the first things first is, what if your 10-year-old self, that cute little girl, was sitting next to you right now, what would she say to you? Would she say to you, why don't you do X anymore? Why don't you paint anymore? Why don't you laugh anymore? Why don't you sing? Why don't you dance? Why don't you write? Why don't you listen? Why don't you, put yourself out there? Why don't you exercise? Why don't you run? Why don't you do X anymore? What is that X for you? Because for all of us, it's going to be different things. And you might be thinking to yourself, like I was when someone asked me that question, was, I don't know what in the heck she would be saying to me. I don't even remember what I was like when I was 10. I don't remember what lit me up. I've had so many things happen and challenges happen and trials have happened to me in the last 30 years. I don't remember what that 10-year-old would be saying to me. So here's what you're going to ask yourself to really light her up, and she's going to give you that answer. So the first thing is, and you're going to journal all of this, and we'll send you the questions at the end, but what did you love doing as a kid? Don't think about it from a sense of what you're going to do to make money, but what did you love doing as a kid? Did you love playing dolls? Was it house? Was it cops and robbers? Was it makeup? Did you do fashion shows? Did you love to draw, read, write? Whatever that is, I want you to journal in. It's probably going to be a lot of things. So just write everything that comes to your mind. For me, it was, I loved riding my bike up and down my grandma's front yard. That was like one of the things that I loved the most. And so I wrote that down. So just really, really dive into whatever that is. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to pick 3 people to interview. And these are going to be 3 people that are from your past, from early childhood, around that kind of 10-year-old time frame. You're going to ask them questions like, what was I like as a kid? What was my energy like? Was I a really motivated person? What did I love to do? Was I shy? Was I outgoing? Was I quiet? Was I high energy? What are those things that really, really like lit you up? What were you like? The next thing you're going to ask them is, what did you think I would be? What did you think I would be when I grew up? And here's the interesting part about all of that is that when I asked that question to my close friends and family, they told me, well, I always thought you'd be a teacher. I always thought you'd be a social worker. That's what my mom said to me. I thought you'd be a teacher or a social worker. But when people told you that you couldn't make any money at that, you decided to do something else. Now, I'm not technically a social worker, and I'm not technically a teacher, but I would say that being a life coach falls into those categories. And so by interviewing those people, you're going to discover and get a whole new perspective on yourself. You're going to remember things that you completely forgot about. The other thing that happened for me when I asked my mom that was she pinpointed for me the exact age when things started to shift for me. She said, I don't know what happened. You went into junior high and you just struggled. You were a different kid and you really struggled with your self-confidence and all of those things. And so for me, that was an amazing gift that she gave me because I was able to pinpoint when the shift happened, maybe really think about why did it happen, and bless and release all of that stuff I was hanging on to so that I could move above and beyond what I had defined as my ceiling. And so those interviews are really, really important. So I would suggest interviewing your mom, your dad, an aunt, maybe an uncle. If you still have your childhood best friend, I interviewed mine. So definitely do that exercise because it will be an amazing gift for you as you go through that. The next thing is I want you to unlock your dreams. So when you're doing something, you know that saying that they always say, well, time flies when you're having fun. Well, this is what I want you to live in. When you think about those moments when the time was flying, what were you doing? Were you reading? Were you really diving into a good book? Maybe you were doing a craft, or maybe you were spending time with your women's group, doing Bible studies. Maybe you were dancing or laughing or going on a trip. Like whatever those things were, I want you to journal that. So the other thing to think about is oftentimes you'll get into your zone and it's kind of like everything is just quiet and the humming around your head, and you forget to eat lunch, you forget to go to the bathroom, you forget to have dinner, you forget to take a break. What are you doing when those moments happen? Those are really, really important, especially if they're happening at work. We don't always love our jobs. We don't always love what we're doing, but there might be certain tasks that you're doing at your job that really light you up. So think about what those are and write those down. Journal everything work related or just life related. For me, some of the things were I loved helping friends. Like when a friend was really having a hard time and we spent good quality time together, that really lights me up, being able to help them problem solve or being able to help them get through a really difficult time. Another thing is that I love creating things. I love spending time, working on my website was a thrill for me. I loved doing that stuff. I love working on social media and figuring out how to grow my audience and grow other people's audiences and things like that. So really think about that stuff. If you feel like you're kind of like wasting time doing stuff, chances are there's something in there that is one of your strengths that you're just kind of pushing aside like it's, a waste of time when it's really not. It's probably something that you could really hone in on to improve your discovering what your passion and your purpose is. Okay, the next thing is we need to figure out what those new doors, those new adventures, and those new opportunities are for you. So what do you secretly love doing, but you're afraid to tell anyone? Okay, I'm going to be really transparent and I'm going to tell you what my secret thing I love to do that I've never told anyone is I love to sing. I love to sing in the car. I'm not always great, but sometimes I think I can carry a tune. I love The Voice. I love watching American Idol or America's Got Talent when those singers come on. That is like my secret thing. If I could be on The Voice or even Dancing with the Stars, that would totally light me up. So what are those things for you? Even if you feel like they're so silly and they are ridiculous that nothing like that would ever happen, I want you to write it down. What do you love learning about? There are tons of opportunities lying in what you love to learn about. Do you love learning about woodworking? Do you love learning about how to reupholster something or how to paint something or to paint a room or decorating? Maybe you love learning about something technological. Maybe it's how to create a website or set up your computer or any of those things. What do you love learning about that really you enjoy, even if it's free and you're not getting paid for it? What do you enjoy reading about and watching? What trainings and courses interest you? There are tons of free trainings out there. If you watch Facebook, you will see advertisements come up like crazy for free webinars like this. What are the ones that pique your interest that you think that would be really interesting to learn about? Take note of those. Explore kind of your community and see if there's any kind of free courses or free classes. Maybe it's your church or the community center. Those are really important. And those are things that even if you don't have a lot of cash on hand, you can still take advantage of, and it can really help you unlock whatever that passion and purpose is living inside of you. And then the last thing I really want you to think about in regards to your new doors, new adventures is when's the last time you actually did something new? That you actually went on an adventure or did something that wasn't something you typically or normally do. That is a real true testament to where you're at and where you're living, and really kind of learning how to grow and how to get out of the way and create new opportunities. Because I'm telling you right now, if you don't take action and really like step into something that's new that you might secretly love to do, but you don't want to tell anybody, if you never take action on that stuff, those opportunities are never going to come to fruition. So take some chances, even if you look ridiculous or even if you feel like you're silly or people are going to make fun of you. Do it anyway. Who cares? The only person that cares is God. And so take those chances and have fun doing it. That's what's really, really important. Okay, the next thing is about creating your legacy. So our legacies are really important. This is what we're leaving to our kids. And I want you to think about when you're 80 or 90, what do you want people to say about you? That's a tough one. When I thought about that question, I thought, oh my gosh, if I died today, what would they say about me? Hopefully they'd say I was an inspiration. I was fun. I, was a good listener. I really helped them. But hopefully they're not going to say, well, you know what? She had so much potential. I can't believe that she didn't follow through with what she was doing. Oh, if she was only still around, maybe she could do that. You don't want people saying that about you. I don't want people saying that about me. I want people saying those amazing things about, she was a godly woman. She was a good listener. She impacted lives. She changed the world. She really helped my family. She really helped my kids. I want my kids and my grandkids to have kind of this matriarch vision of me. And that might not be what you want people to say when you're 80 or 90, but I want you to think about, what do you want those people to say about you? Furthermore, if you found out today that you only had 5 years to live, what would you take action on today? A lot of people would say, I would spend time with my family. I would, enjoy every moment with them. I don't disagree with any of that. If someone told me I only had 5 years to live, you better believe I'd be spending as much time as I possibly could with my husband and my kids and my mom and my dad and all of my family. But I would also be getting my arse to work, because I would want to leave these guys with something that they could remember me by. I would want to help as many women as possible, maybe get through their own strengths and their own weaknesses and the things that are really they're struggling with. Those are the things that I would want to do. So think about what you would want to do if you only had 5 years left in your life. And then, like I had mentioned, with your kids and your grandkids, what do you want to teach them? Those are really important lessons. Like, maybe you really struggled with something as a younger person, and you don't want them to go through that. Write that stuff down, because that's really important stuff. And it will also help you figure out what your passion and your purpose is in terms of creating that amazing legacy. And it doesn't mean you have to be filthy rich to create an amazing legacy. You could just be a supportive, a wise woman who is strong in her faith, who loves to serve people and help people. Think of like Mother Teresa, that kind of thing. I'm not saying go out and be Mother Teresa, but I'm just saying your legacy can be whatever it is you want it to be. Just make sure that if you died tomorrow, that you'd be okay with whatever those people were going to say about you as you were gone. The next thing is, I want you to think about the world. So our world today, especially in the last couple of weeks, has been excruciatingly painful. There is so much turmoil going on in the world. I mean, even today there was an issue in Nice, France. And so we really need to think about what the world needs from us. How can we, little old me, impact things, change things? Because we all have the power and the control to do that. So think about your family. What cycles do you want to break for your family? Maybe you're the first person to ever go to college. Maybe you're the first person to ever be an entrepreneur. Maybe you're the first person to ever have a marriage that doesn't end in divorce. Whatever that is, think about those cycles that you want to break in your family, because you do have the power to control that and to change that. The buck stops with you. And so if you decide today that you aren't going to be like that, or you're not going to do that, then you have the power to do that. You just have to make the choice. Also think about your strengths. In our previous, last month, we did a 10-day confidence challenge, and we really talked about our strengths and our weaknesses, but I want you to live in your strengths. So how can you use your strengths to fulfill your purpose? And this is something that I cover in a great amount of detail with my one-on-one clients. We talk a lot about what their strengths are and how they can use that to move forward and fulfill their purpose and their passion. And really kind of dive into creating an amazing either business or an amazing job, their dream job, whatever that is. That's where your strengths live in. So the last thing in regards to what the world needs is, I want you to think about how you're going to pay it forward with your own gifts. So using your strengths, breaking the cycles with your family, how are you going to pay that forward using the God-given gifts that you've been blessed with? I think that kind of ties all of this together when you think about that. How are you going to change that woman that's sitting next to you, or your mom or your aunt or your best friend? How are you going to pay it forward by utilizing your gifts and your calling to make their lives better? The next thing and the last thing that we're going to talk about is stretching you out of your comfort zone. This is so, so hard. And the first question that you really need to ask yourself is if you're willing to take action. Some of us talk all day long about how we're willing to take action and willing to step out of our comfort zone, but we never, ever do. We always sit back with those what ifs, should haves, would haves, could haves, and we live in regrets. We live in shame. We live in just that fear, that yucky feeling. And so you don't have to do that anymore, but you need to ask yourself that question. If you are willing to take action and you're willing to move forward and you're willing to really accomplish what it is that you've been set here and put here for. So when you think about all of the stuff that we talked about a lot, and I asked you a lot of questions, but when you think about that little girl, you think about those new doors and those fun opportunities that await you. When you think about your legacy and you think about the world, what makes your heart flutter? What makes your chest feel tight? Or when you get that kind of like butterfly feeling, like you feel like you're in overdrive, what are you doing when that happens? For me, it always happens before I do a Facebook Live. Always. Inevitably. I'm always like, oh, what do I say? Am I going to look stupid? My chest starts to get tight. But I do it anyway. Because one, the more I do it, the better I get at it. Two, I'm going to reach more people or different people every single time I do it. There's going to be inevitably someone new that comes across that video, and something I've said might totally resonate with them. So what is that thing for you? If you are in a job, a regular 9-to-5 job, what gets you excited about going to work every day? And if you're not getting excited about going to work every day, then you definitely need to be here and you need to be answering these questions, because I want to see you grow and expand and jump into a life that you're super excited about, that gives you the butterflies and gives you those flutters, because that is what life is about. You want to get out of bed every morning super excited to take on the day. And that doesn't always happen for us. It certainly wasn't me 8 months ago. But it's me now, and you have the opportunity and the ability to change that. But you have to think about what makes you scared, what gives you fear, because those are the things that you have to really breathe through and step through and really face and really take that on, because those are the things that are going to help you really figure out what your passion and your calling is. If you're constantly comfortable, if you're never having these feelings of anything that I've discussed, you're too comfortable, period. You are living safe. You are not pushing yourself. You're not willing to take action. And you need to stretch yourself a little bit. You're never going to grow if you don't have that fearful feeling every now and again. And fear is not always a bad thing. It can be a very exciting thing. When it becomes a bad thing is when you let it win. When you don't make that phone call that you said you would make. You cancel that appointment you made with that client or that prospect. You really have to step into that and make it happen. Okay, so I think it's Jessica Carter. She says, I'm afraid of change in work and life. Okay, that change is hard. Change is not fun. Change is scary. And trust me, I left a 15-year corporate America position where I was making $130,000 a year to do a stay-at-home business that I was barely bringing in $2,000 a month. That is crazy. I look back on that now and I think you are a moron. I can't believe you left that kind of job for that kind of pay. But I'll tell you what, that was the best decision I ever made in my whole life. And I'm not saying leave the security of your job to take a ridiculous pay cut. But if it is what you need to really grow, then do it. What do you have to lose except a little bit of cash? You can't take it with you anyway. So for me, I learned so many lessons in the last year of leaving that job and forcing myself to make my life work and to make it what I wanted to be, that 15 years working in corporate never got that for me. The 2 years that I did to get the 4 years that I did to get my bachelor's degree never got that for me. No, the hard lessons that I took, embracing the change and not settling, that's for me where I found that passion and that purpose. And that's the only reason I'm here in front of you talking to you today. There is no other reason for that. God pushed me to that limit and pushed me out of my own comfort zone and into my home business to show me that there were bigger things meant for me. If you're constantly living in that comfortable state, then you're never, ever going to experience the amazing blessings and the amazing gifts that He has waiting for you. So I recently read a book called Big Magic. It's by Elizabeth Gilbert. And, some of it, I'm a pretty spiritual person and extremely, very, very faithful Christian. So some of it was a little wonky as I was listening to it or reading it. So I'm not going to lie there. But the one thing that she talked about that really, really resonated with me is she said that God gives people ideas all day long. He gives you ideas. He gives me ideas. And He waits. And if we don't make the choice to act on the idea that He blessed us with, He's going to take that idea from us and give it to someone else. Now, I don't know where it says that in the Bible, and it might not say that in the Bible, but I really think that there's some truth behind that. Think about all of the times that you've been watching that infomercial and you see that product come on and you look at your husband or you look at your best friend and you're like, we were going to invent that. We were going to do that. That's our invention. That's our creation. Well, you didn't act on it. You waited too long. So He gave it to someone else to go do. So that's why it's really important when you think about what are those dreams living inside of you? What are those things that you think about that you're scared to tell anyone about? Those are the ones that are where the secret sauce is living, where you need to really act on that and really think about how you could make that come to fruition. For Eric and I, it's my husband is an amazing, amazing chef. He's a great cook. And we both gained weight after we got married, and it wasn't because of me. But one of our things is we always talk about him owning his own pizza truck. We talked about him opening up a pizza restaurant, but he's way too controlling to be able to have a whole staff work for him. He'd have to inspect everything as it went out the door. But we've talked about starting a pizza truck for him where it could be him and maybe 2 other people. And that way he could still have the control that he wanted. But I keep thinking, man, if we don't act on that soon, that idea is going to go away. I mean, you see pizza trucks all the time, but that idea is going to leave us and we're not going to be able to make that come to fruition. And so I think about that all the time about when I'm going to act on that. So don't be afraid of change. I mean, be afraid of change because that's what's going to push you, but don't let your fear outwin the possibilities that you have in front of you to be able to really step into what your calling and your purpose is. I'm looking at my notes because I don't want to miss anything. The other thing that is really a good thing to do is to think about when people compliment you, what are they complimenting you on? What are the things that they do that or that you do that really help them? For me, I tend to get compliments, on well, you're such a good listener. You're such a good listener. You have good advice. Or I'll get compliments on my technical skills because I'm usually pretty technically savvy. Being, my career being in software development, I hope that I have some of those skills left. But so think about the things for you in your work and in your day-to-day life. What do people compliment you on? For my husband, it's cooking. For some people, it might be writing. They're amazing writers, or they take good pictures. They're not a photographer. They don't have a business, but they're the first one to always have their camera out. Think about those things for you. What are those things where people are like, you should really do that for a living? That's a definite sign of something that you should really explore, is when someone tells you that you're good at something, then you should do that for a living. Don't ever ignore that, because it's right there, living there, waiting for you to just act on it. The last thing that I am going to really cover, and my last kind of parting thoughts before I open it up to questions, and Jess, you can type in the chat if you have other questions when I open it up for Q&A, but I really want you to think about that spirit that's living inside of you. Every day you're getting messages and callings and pushes that the spirit and your kind of intuition is telling you that you need to move forward with. And so don't ignore those. Don't think that something is a coincidence, because nothing is ever a coincidence. There are no accidents. Even me getting a flat tire at 11:30 on the freeway last night isn't an accident. There was a reason for that. I don't know what the reason was that it happened, but there was a reason for it. And everything, there's a reason for everything. So listen to that spirit and those guides inside of you telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing. For me, it was doing this training. I have struggled my whole life until the last 6 months trying to decide what I wanted to be when I grew up. I knew that there was something more, and I knew it wasn't just being a project manager or directing a team of project managers. I knew it wasn't management. I knew it wasn't, becoming a corporate executive. There was something bigger for me, something that I could really change people and change the world and change lives. And I just kept waiting for that thing. Like, when's it going to come? When am I going to figure it out? Well, I'm telling you what, sitting behind that desk, you're never going to figure it out. For me, it took me getting out of my own way and taking one step after another, after another, after another, to finally have the light bulb go off. But, living the same thing where you get up in the morning, you get your kids ready to go to school, you go to work, you come home, you pick them up, you make dinner, you do homework, you take a shower, you clean the house up, you go to bed, and it's like wash, rinse, repeat every single day, the same things over and over again. You can't figure out what your calling and your purpose is if you don't change the course a little bit. So definitely look for things that you can be doing that will stretch you a little bit. Look for things that will maybe open up a door that you hadn't thought of. And you'll get that feeling in your gut and that feeling in your heart and in your chest. For me, sometimes it's like I can't get my breath to collapse. Like I'll take a deep breath and I can't get that collapse at the top. When that happens to me, I know that's my calling and my kind of trigger that I need to be paying attention to what is going on around me, what my thoughts are, what I'm reading, what I'm writing. I think about everything because there is a message there. There's a sign there that I need to be paying attention to. And so you need to figure out what your signs are, what your messages are. But that is what I wanted to cover today. I just pray that all of you would really explore the questions that I talked about today, because those answers are there, but you have to spend the time and invest in yourself to do it. And ask your friends, ask your mentors, find people that you really look up to that can help you work through all of that. and that is a lot of what the first 6 weeks of my coaching program is about, is helping women figure out what it is they want to do, what it is that lights them up, and where they want to be spending their time. One client that I just finished with, when we started, it was, she wanted to improve her business. She wanted to get more clients, increase her sales. By the end of it, she was, focused on her master's degree and becoming a vocational therapist, and her business took a back seat because school was more important. She had a bigger mission in mind, but she had kind of thought about that, and she had applied to the schooling before we started working together, but I don't think she would have been full board like she was and as successful as she has been in her first semester at school had we not been working together. And so it's been really fun to see, and she's just one example. There's lots of examples of that, of women that I've worked with where we've really kind of uncovered what it is they need to be doing and they want to be doing, because we are not guaranteed tomorrow. And so I want you to go out and just live the best possible life that you can, living every day in purpose, excited about jumping out of bed. And that's really what's important. So I'm going to unmute everybody and let you guys ask any questions that you might have, but give me a second because I'm not quite sure how to unmute everybody. Okay, everybody's unmuted. So are there any questions that you guys have that you want me to expand on that I didn't, maybe something that I mentioned?
No, I don't. I'm just really excited and a little scared to dig in all honesty.
Don't be scared to dig in. I mean, be scared. Being scared is not a bad thing.
I can't do it. It's scared like, I don't know, it's like that excited scared where there's something there, but you don't know how to get to it, but if you dig far enough, you'll get it.
That is what is so beautiful about all of this for me, is that, like, even today, I mean, I had 2 cars break down on me over the last 4 days. My kids have been ornery. I had every excuse in the book. But I was like, no, that's what's so exciting about it. Even this morning when I went to go on my Facebook Live in the Fierce Thriving Women group, and I couldn't get my Facebook Live to work in there, I was like, okay, that's weird. Why isn't it working? And then I went to my public page and I did it. And I thought, no, that's what's so exciting about it, is that it's not, I keep thinking like, who does he want me to talk to? There's someone out there that needs to hear what I have to say. And so I embrace that excitement now and those challenges, because I know that I am stronger and that I can get through that. And so just live in all of those moments, because they are not fun, but at the end of the day, you have such a beautiful testimony of the journey that you've gone through.
She's coming after your meltdown. It's time for a bath, and I need to get her.
Okay, thanks, Debbie. Have a good one.
So sorry, but I'm so excited to embark on this with you.
Yeah, no, that's great. So the last question that Jessica had was, or another question she had was, how did you decide to just leave your job? It was probably something that I had thought about for about 4 months. And I just knew that every day going in, I did not feel fulfilled. I dreaded going into the office every day. And I found myself getting more excited about other things that I was doing. And so for me, it was about, sorry, I'm just fixing this. For me, it was about going and just really taking some chances that I hadn't ever taken in my life. So you become shy and afraid when it comes to doing things like asking for a raise or starting a new job. Okay, that, if you didn't have those things, I would say there's something wrong with you. I get afraid of asking people for a sale. I get afraid of even asking people to purchase my 90-day program because I think, oh, all that negative self-talk goes on in your head. Like, they don't think I'm qualified. They don't think I provide value. They're never going to spend that amount of money on investing in themselves, utilizing me. But there's so many lies that are entailed in that you have to take those chances, because if you don't ask, it's always going to be a no. If you don't ask your boss for a raise, you're never going to get it. If you don't establish what your worth is, they're never going to respect you. Starting a new job is always so scary. Especially one where you're getting promoted into it, because then you have all of these like expectations from people. That's something that Eric is going through right now as he's trying to expand in his role. But I just keep telling him, act as if. Go into the office every single day like that job is yours. Do the tasks that are required for that job. Dress the part. Act the part. Be confident. Those are the things that are going to get you the job that you want. The other thing, and there's so much truth to this in regards to visualizing, journaling, writing down exactly who it is or exactly what the job is that you want. What does it look like? How much money are you going to make? What are the tasks going to be? What lights you up? And when you go through all of these questions and figure out what your purpose and your passion and your calling is, and what you decide what you want to be when you grow up, writing all of that out. I wish I could find it really quickly. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it super quick, but I went through, when I was going through exactly all of these questions myself, I went through and wrote out what my perfect job was going to be. And I look at that now and I think, oh my word, if you just took off my business name that I, thought that I would be doing, you would be floored at what I actually uncovered. Oh, let's see if I can find it super fast. Okay, I did just find it. I'm going to read this to you. So this is what I had wrote on, let's see if I can figure out a time frame. It was probably in March that I wrote this. I'll leave out my company name because that doesn't matter. So I am officially, a certain rank with a certain company. I am inspired and humbled to have been given the opportunity to put myself and my heart and soul into the amazing individuals on my team. I am thankful for the money I have received along this journey. The hope and wisdom I have given others for exchange of financial abundance has been worth every penny to them, and it has been worth every minute of work for me. Empowering women to change their lives and honor Christ has been the greatest reward. My empire is organically growing, and I am enjoying the adventure of coaching others to financial freedom. I was blessed with the plan given by God, and I clearly followed the plan. Okay, the thing you need to know about that and when I wrote it is that was before I had even decided to launch my coaching business. The thought hadn't even come into my head. But clearly it had come into my head because I wrote it. But if you take out all of those comments were about how I was going to grow my team and my home-based business. I never in a million years thought that I would be doing all of those things with lots of different women in all different businesses and all different jobs. And so taking the minute to write what it is that you want out of a day 6 months from now will bring so much clarity to you in regards to what it is that you should be going after. But don't limit yourself with a name of a company or a name of a role or a job or a business. Just write from your heart of what it is that you would be doing every single day. And that is kind of, when I look at this now, it gives me goosebumps because I think it was there the whole time. I wrote it. I was looking at it the whole time, but I never stepped into it. I never took the moment to really think about what that job would be or what that business would be until 2 months later. A month later, I decided, oh, well, I think I want to do that, and now looking back on it now, it's unbelievable to me. that we create everything, or we send the messages to our spirit and to the people around us about what it is we want. But we have to be open to receiving it, and we have to be taking action. Otherwise, we can't be blessed with the gifts that are out there for us. So I appreciate all of your sweet comments. Do you have any other questions I can answer? Oh, thank you. I sure love all of your support. You are, I do feel like I've come into my own. Thank you. I'm truly, truly lucky to get to do this every single day. And it's just been an amazing journey. And I want every woman to experience their own journey and to figure out what that is. But we can talk offline for sure. And I can help answer any questions that you have in regards to what it is that we can help you either get that job that you want or figure out what it is that you do want. So we can spend some time to do that. And with that being said, let's see. So I had a couple of people online. So I'm going to pick a name to see who gets the free session. All right, here we go. I have my little star with the names in it. All right, Jessica, it's you. You get one free session. So we'll spend some more time talking about all of this, and I'll help you get going. And you are amazing, and I know that there's super, super good things waiting for you. For everyone else that watches this video, even if you watch the replay, through Friday evening, I'm going to give you $500 off my 90-day coaching program. So right now it's $19.97 for 90 days. That's 12 one-on-one sessions. Starting at the end through tomorrow, you can get $500 off of that. So it'll be $14.97 for 90 days. That includes 3 sessions with an energy healer. It's 12 one-on-one sessions with me. And we'll be able to uncover a lot of that. So if you're interested in that and you want to learn more about what that would entail and what the program looks like, make sure that you message me or, hit me up, give me a call, send me an email, and we can get a Q&A session set up, and I'd be happy to answer all of your questions. So with that being said, I love you all, and I'm super excited, and I just hope that you go out and really dive into what your passion and your purpose is, because you're not doing anyone any favors playing it safe on the sidelines. So love you all. God bless, and we'll talk later.